The city lights flickered outside my window, a million tiny promises twinkling in the darkness. Each light represented a story, a life, a possibility. As I scrolled through the Eternity dating app, insomnia my only companion, yet again. It had become a nightly ritual, a digital trawl through a sea of faces all hoping for the same thing. Swipe left, another left, the endless parade of predictable profiles blurred into one. The same faces, the same tired poses, the same cliché bios, hiking, brunch, and a desperate plea for someone to love and laugh with. I was about to give up, ready to resign myself to another night of solitary scrolling, when I saw him, Lucian. His name alone was enough to pique my interest. One photo, him in front of a shadowy ancient building almost blending into the darkness. It looked like something out of a gothic novel. No smile, no social media links, a complete digital ghost. Just 3 words in his bio, seeking a timeless connection. What did that even mean? It was dramatic, mysterious, and completely unlike the others. A breath of fresh, albeit slightly morbid air. Red flag, maybe. A whole field of them probably. But I was hooked. Irrationally, undeniably hooked. My thumb hovered. The cursor blinked, a digital heartbeat in the silence. Sensible left or risky right? The angel on my shoulder screamed left, while the devil was doing cartwheels on the right. I swiped right. The screen flashed. It's a match! A burst of light in the darkness. My heart skipped. Or maybe it did a little drum solo. Silly, but it felt important, like a tiny spark had been ignited in the mundane routine of my life. A shiver ran down my spine. Excitement, not fear, though a healthy dose of apprehension was definitely present. I stared at his profile, unable to look away, drawn in by the enigma he presented. Who was this man who seemed to exist only in shadows? What secrets did he hold? I told myself it was just curiosity, a passing fancy fueled by boredom and late-night loneliness. But deep down, I knew it was more. A flicker of something I hadn't felt in a long time. I closed the app, but his image lingered in my mind, a haunting melody I couldn't shake. I wondered what would happen next. Would he message me? Would I ever meet him, or was this just another fleeting digital encounter? I didn't know, but I wanted to find out. I needed to find out. The city outside felt different, like something had shifted, a subtle change in the atmosphere, a promise of something unknown. And I was wide awake, the possibilities swirling in my mind, sleep a distant memory. I didn't expect a message so soon, but Lucian replied almost instantly. "Hello, Ilara, just my name. Simple, direct, unsettling," I answered, keeping it casual. "Hi Lucian, I like your picture." His replies always came at night, never during the day. Our conversations were slow, deliberate, like a chess match in the dark. He asked about my music, my dreams, but his own answers were always vague. He worked in acquisitions. He was a night owl. No social media, no past. "I prefer to live in the moment," he wrote. "The digital world is just a shadow." His words were strange, but I was drawn in. After a week of midnight messages, he asked me to dinner. "I would be honored to meet you," he wrote. Honored? Who talks like that? My curiosity won out over caution. I agreed. Friday 9 o'clock, a quiet Italian place downtown. I stared at the screen, heart pounding. Was I excited or afraid? Maybe both. Friday night. The city buzzed with a chaotic energy, a symphony of car horns and distant laughter. I stood outside Bella Notte, the restaurant's warm glow a stark contrast to the cool night air. Nerves jangled like wind chimes in a storm. I dressed up, maybe a little too much. I checked my reflection, scrutinizing every detail from the curve of my lipstick to the way my hair framed my face, and tried to steady my breathing, willing my heart to slow its frantic pace. This was it, the moment of truth. Inside, the restaurant was warm and candlelit, a haven of soft light and hushed conversations. Lucian wasn't there yet, and the minutes stretched on, each one amplifying my anxiety. Every time the door opened, a wave of anticipation washed over me, my stomach flipping with a mixture of hope and dread. Then he arrived. Taller, darker, more intense than his photo. The image I had conjured paled in comparison to the reality before me. He moved with silent grace, a predator stalking its prey, each step deliberate and controlled. His eyes, unreadable pools of black, seemed to pierce through me, seeing things I didn't even know were there. "Ilara," he said, his voice smooth as velvet, a low rumble that resonated deep within me. "You look even more beautiful than I imagined." I blushed, speechless, caught off guard by his intense gaze and unexpected compliment. He sat across from me, the candlelight flickering over his sharp features, casting dramatic shadows that only amplified his intensity. The waiter offered wine, a crisp Sauvignon Blanc. Lucian declined, "Just water." I followed suit, not wanting to drink alone, though a glass of wine might have calmed my frayed nerves. An awkward silence settled between us, thick and heavy, punctuated only by the clinking of silverware from nearby tables. I tried to make small talk, asking about his work, his hobbies, anything to break the tension. But his gaze was hypnotic, pulling me in, making it hard to focus on anything else. He barely blinked, barely smiled, his expression a mask of stoic indifference. I felt like I was being studied, not courted, like an insect pinned beneath a microscope. The world around us faded, the sounds of the restaurant dimming, the other diners becoming blurry figures in the periphery. It was just me and him, locked in a strange silent dance, a battle of wills fought with glances and unspoken words. I wondered if I should run, make some excuse and flee into the night, or lean in closer, succumb to the magnetic pull that drew me towards him despite the warning bells ringing in my head. The date had only just begun, but I already knew Lucian was no ordinary match. This was something different, something extraordinary, something potentially dangerous. I was in deep and I couldn't look away, mesmerized by the enigma that sat before me. The night felt charged, dangerous, like a storm was brewing just beneath the surface, and I was hooked, drawn into his web, willing to risk everything to unravel his secrets. The waiter brought garlic bread. I offered Lucian some. He recoiled, almost flinching. "No thank you, I have a sensitivity." Garlic? Another odd detail. We ordered. I chose lasagna. Lucian's steak, very rare. When the food arrived, his steak was nearly raw. He ate slowly, never looking at his plate, just at me. His gaze was intense, unblinking. I tried to talk about my job, my life, but he revealed nothing. "I find things," he said. "Rare things, lost things." Every answer was a riddle. I felt like I was being interviewed, or maybe hunted. The tension grew with every bite. I laughed nervously, tried to break the spell, but his eyes never left mine. The delicious food lost its taste. My stomach twisted with unease. Something was off, something I couldn't name. I wanted to leave, but I couldn't move. I was trapped in his gaze, caught in a web I didn't understand. The dinner felt like a test, and I wasn't sure I was passing. I realized I knew nothing about the man across from me, and that terrified me. The silence in the restaurant was thick, almost suffocating. You could feel it pressing in from all sides, a heavy blanket of unspoken tension. It was the kind of silence that made you acutely aware of every little sound, every nervous cough, every clink of silverware. I tried to joke, desperate to break the tension that had settled between us like a cold front. I needed to say something, anything, to lighten the mood and dispel the growing unease. "You don't drink wine, don't eat garlic, and you only seem to be available after sunset. Only come out at night." It was a silly observation, but the words hung in the air, heavy with implication. If I didn't know better, and believe me, I wanted to believe better, I'd say you were a vampire. I laughed, a nervous, brittle sound, but Lucian didn't. He didn't even crack a smile. He just stared, face still as stone, his eyes fixed on me with an unnerving intensity. I started to apologize, to backtrack and fill the awkward space, but then, slowly, deliberately, he smiled. Not a normal smile, not a friendly or reassuring one. Too wide, stretching his lips to an unnatural extent, too many teeth showing gleaming white in the dim light, canines sharp as daggers hinting at something predatory lurking beneath the surface. The smile didn't reach his eyes. It was a mask, a cruel parody of genuine warmth. They stayed cold, empty, devoid of any emotion, like looking into the abyss. It was the smile of a predator, a hunter who had finally cornered its prey. In that moment, every red flag I had ignored, every warning sign I had dismissed, crashed down on me with the force of a tidal wave. The late-night texts, always after midnight, the riddles, the cryptic messages that seemed to hint at something just beyond my grasp, the way he moved, with a grace that seemed almost unnatural, defying gravity itself. My joke, the one I had made to break the ice, wasn't a joke at all. It was a horrifying truth staring me in the face. My blood ran cold, turning to ice in my veins. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move, paralyzed by a fear so profound it threatened to consume me. The world faded away, the sounds of the restaurant dissolving into a distant hum. There was only me, him, and that monstrous smile, a grotesque caricature of human expression. He held my gaze for what felt like forever, his eyes boring into my soul, trapping me in his web. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, the smile vanished, leaving no trace behind. He was just Lucian again. Handsome, mysterious, dangerous, the man I thought I knew. But I had seen what was underneath, the monster lurking beneath the charming facade. And I could never unsee it, never forget the horror that had been revealed to me. I left the restaurant shaken, haunted by that smile, by the knowledge of what Lucian truly was. I knew I should run, get as far away from him as possible, protect myself from the danger he represented, but I also knew I wouldn't, that some dark and irresistible force was keeping me tethered to him. Not yet, the game had only just begun. I stumbled home, hands shaking. Lucian's smile burned into my mind. But fear gave way to something else, determination. I looked in the mirror, saw the fire in my eyes. This wasn't my first time matching with someone like Lucian. The Eternity app was a clue, a sick joke for those who knew. I'd been searching for a long time. Now, I'd found one. I reached under the sink, pulled out a velvet pouch. Inside, a tube of red lipstick mixed with salt and ash, a silver locket with dried wolfsbane, and a leather-bound book of spells. My grandmother's book. She'd been a hunter too. I opened to a marked page, the Circle of Truth. I drew a circle on the floor with the lipstick. Steady now. Focused. This wasn't about a second date. This was a hunt. Lucian thought he was the predator. He was wrong. I was ready to turn the tables. The rules had changed. I was no one's prey. The game was on, and I was making the rules now. Tomorrow, I would finish what I started. The circle was just the beginning. I needed a weapon. From my closet, I pulled out a cedar box. Inside, a stake carved from ancient ash. My grandmother taught me how to use it. Quick, silent, never hesitate. I practiced the motions until they felt like second nature. I wrapped the stake in a silk scarf, tucked it into my purse. Holy water disguised as perfume, silver beads as a charm. Everyday items, deadly secrets. Lucian texted, "Saturday? My place? Perfect." Risky, but I wanted him comfortable, off guard. He'd think he was in control. He'd think I was the lamb. But I was the wolf in sheep's clothing. I replied, "I can't wait." The trap was set. The hunter was ready. I checked my tools one last time. I rehearsed my plan. Tomorrow I would walk into the wolf's den, and I would not walk out empty-handed. The hunt was about to begin. Saturday night I arrived at Lucian's building, a Gothic fortress looming over the city. I buzzed. The door opened without a word. The elevator creaked to the top floor. Apartment 13. Lucian greeted me, all charm and darkness. "Welcome, Alara," he purred, that unsettling smile flashing. I didn't flinch. I smiled back. Inside the apartment was vast, empty, draped in velvet shadows. One ornate chair, his throne, waited in the center. "Please have a seat," he said. I walked slowly, purse in hand, heart steady. This was it, the moment he'd reveal himself, the moment the predator would strike. I stopped short of the chair, turned to face him. "You know, Lucian, I haven't been entirely honest with you." Confusion flickered in his eyes. He was used to fear, not defiance. I reached into my purse, pulled out the stake, fast, practiced. "My name isn't really Alara," I said, stepping forward, "and I'm not here for a date." His face twisted in rage and surprise. The hunt was on. In the darkness, predator and prey traded places. Only one would walk out. No one knows what happened in that apartment. A week later, police found it empty, no furniture, no trace of life. Just a circle drawn in red lipstick, a black purse on its side. Lucian vanished. His dating profile disappeared. I was gone too. My apartment untouched, my phone and keys left behind. The case went cold, 2 more lost to the city's shadows. But stories spread whispers in the Eternity app's reviews. Warnings about a man with dark eyes who only messaged at night. Tales of a girl who asked too many questions about garlic and the sun. Some said she was a victim, others, a hunter. The reviews vanish quickly, but new ones always appear. Be careful who you match with, they warn. Some people aren't looking for love, they're looking for a hunt. The city keeps its secrets. But if you swipe in the dark, beware. You never know who's waiting on the other side. And sometimes the prey is the most dangerous of all.